So, you know how everyone says, just take a break from your phone, it'll change your life? Well, I did, in a major way. I turned mine off for 7 full days. No scrolling, no texting, no just checking one thing. And yes, I expected the usual better sleep, more presence, blah, 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 blah. But what actually happened? Let's just say it caught me completely off guard. This week, I'm sharing the real, raw, surprising truth about what I discovered when the notifications stopped and the noise in my head got louder. The thing no one warned me about. And trust me, you wouldn't see it coming either. So grab your cozy socks, get under your favorite blanket, and let's dive in. Hey there! You just stumbled into the Anxious Creative Podcast, where overthinking turns into ahas, mess ups become magic, and anxious spirals totally part of the process. I'm Dawn Bradley, your messy, imperfect host, here to help you, the recovering people pleaser, the perfectionist, to stop chasing the unachievable and start embracing the chaos. Spoiler alert, that's where the real magic happens anyway. So buckle up, friend, because we're about to have some laugh so hard till you cry moments, a few hard truths to help you grow, and naturally, a little, or let's be honest, a lot, of oversharing. You ready? Let's dive in. Okay, so I decided to do a digital detox. Now, full disclosure, I used to do this twice a year, once in the summer and once at the end of December. And then I got away from it. I felt like I couldn't do it anymore. I needed to be available. And then I realized recently that I was burnt out. I've been feeling apathetic for quite some time and just not feeling excited or passionate about life, about work, about anything, and feeling like I was spinning my tires, trying to find answers, trying to seek out answers so much. And I realized maybe I needed some stillness. Maybe I needed some quiet. Maybe I needed to get away from the distractions of everyday life. So I packed up my dogs, I left the city, and I turned my phone off for 7 days. And what I was hoping it was that those 7 days, my expectation was that I would have some insights, some revelations, and some big ahas about what my life is supposed to be, what my future is supposed to look like, what I'm supposed to do next. Because I've been feeling this way for a while. And if you relate to this, where you're like, life isn't bad, but I just don't know what's next. You probably understand this feeling. And it's so easy to just scroll Instagram or scroll TikTok or look at YouTube videos or whatever, or be texting people or hanging out with people or constantly keeping yourself distracted away from yourself because it's so uncomfortable to sit with ourselves. But I was scared to turn my phone off because that meant I would be left with myself. I'd be left with the quiet, with the voice in my head, and the thing that I've been running from, which is myself. I expected to feel uncomfortable, but I had no idea how uncomfortable I would be. And really, the hardest moments of those 7 days was the first couple days. I did sleep a lot. I took time off work. Obviously, turning your phone off and having a online business, I had to step back. But it made me realize just how much time I actually had and how much rest I wasn't taking. I was physically resting my body, but my brain, I was not. I was not, um, I just wasn't taking the time to sit and be quiet. And I think it revealed how much of a phone addiction I have. And I don't even want to say that out loud, but I think we're going to start seeing more and more as the years progress the negative side effects of these little handheld computers that we're actually addicted to. And I will say fully addicted to my phone. Like if you wake up and the first thing you do is scroll, there's a good chance that you're addicted to your phone. And I've listened to podcasts, and I forget her name, about the dopamine nation, about like learning how to do a dopamine detox because we're hijacking our brains. And I really realized that that's what I was doing. And so the hardest moments for the first couple days were that like knee-jerk reaction to go for my phone, to fill the void, to ease the discomfort, the not wanting to sit with myself and think. And, choosing a book instead. And then I'd read a book, and like that moment where you kind of get bored or there's stillness and you just want to distract that, I realized how much I distract myself away from the discomfort of sitting with myself. And I think about was there peace? I don't know if I felt peace during those 7 days. Did it freak me out? It triggered a lot of emotions within me of how much I rely on this phone to connect with people and not connecting in real life. And I crave in-person connection. And I think that's one of the hardest things is like my best friends in the entire world, all live around the world. And so the phone is the way I connect with them. But it triggered this realization in me of how uncomfortable I am with myself, of how much I avoid being with myself. And I don't get me wrong, I think socializing is important. I think getting out there is important. I do naturally hermit quite a bit. I'm very comfortable. I mean, I used to be way more outgoing, and I think with age and time comes like a comfort with being alone. And I've got my doggies, but realizing I don't sit with myself as in like my thoughts. And where are my thoughts directing me? And is it my thoughts? Is it my fear? Is it my intuition? Like really not sitting and exploring where my thoughts are coming from. And realizing just like, yeah, like how uncomfortable I am with myself. And as a giver, and as I guess you maybe call me a healer, I don't know, like whether I don't know if that like title fits me, but as someone who is a service provider that gives to other people, I realized I wasn't giving to myself. And I think sometimes we can think we're selfish, but are we selfish in the right ways? Are we filling up our own cup? What are we outsourcing to other people, to your clients, to your coworkers, to your friends, to your loved ones, to romantic relationships to fill a void that you need to fill yourself? And so I really realized that I was so uncomfortable sitting in the discomfort. And it's funny because my program Wreck Your Business has a lesson. I don't know if it's still titled this since I've done it, but getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And holy shit, I'm in that season right now. I didn't even want to record this podcast because I knew I'd have to sit and reflect on these 7 days and how uncomfortable we are with being by ourselves and exploring what I want, what I need, what I think I need, like the self-sabotage that goes on. And I've written down questions here for me of like, did I notice any old patterns, thoughts, or emotions that come up that I usually use to numb with my phone? And yeah, 100%. Like I would read books and I was reading, oh my gosh, there's a puppy outside my window right now. And this is the squirreliest moment, but it's like maybe a 10-week-old puppy and it is so cute. Okay, I digress. Did I notice any old patterns, thoughts, or emotions come up that I usually numb with my phone? I think I've been going through a really emotional time recently and realizing that when big emotions come up in me, I want to use my phone to numb out. And what I let myself do was cry, wail, grieve, um, be kind of like, I want to say I kind of disassociated as well. It's like I don't have my phone, so I'd sleep as well. And not that, I mean, sleep used to be my escape, but then I also couldn't, I would sleep, but then I couldn't sleep. I would wake myself up with nightmares about my future. It's really interesting how much, and wanting to like just distract. And that like, I didn't, after the first couple days, I didn't really go for my phone. I like shut it off and put it out of sight so I couldn't even see it. But I did have this feeling of relief of not having to show up for anyone else but myself. And it was really cool because I'm not used to doing that. I'm someone who self-sacrifices, who has struggled with finding my value and my worth in how other people perceive me, in wanting to help and heal other people. Because then, and it's like, I was recording on someone else's podcast today about people pleasers aren't about pleasing other people. It's a transaction we do. We try to make other people happy so they're happy with us. It's actually a manipulation technique to make ourselves feel validated and secure. Well, because if you're comfortable displeasing people, it means you're confident and comfortable in yourself and who you are, and you're okay with other people having a negative view of you, which is, oh my gosh, such a revelation for me as I said it on this podcast today. Okay, so question 5 for myself. What surprised me the most about my behavior, my thoughts, and my nervous system during the week? Okay, so let's talk about nervous system because I I was never really tapped in physically to my nervous system. And I started realizing when I would have panic attacks or anxiety during that week, like how my nervous system would light up. And I'd almost feel, when you like your hand falls asleep or your foot falls asleep and it gets tingly? I felt that sensation, but on the inside of my body. And I had never been aware of it before. Like full on nervous system, like, like that's the only way I can describe it. And learning to sit through it and feel it out. And it's funny how, I'm having this like time right now where I'm really coming back to myself, and I lost myself for a while and I thought I hadn't lost myself. I thought I was showing up as true, authentic Dawn, but I wasn't. And that's hard to admit because I don't even want to admit this on the podcast. But realizing that like I kind of lost myself and trying to rewire my nervous system, rewire my thoughts and rewire my behaviors, but also giving myself the time to just like feel everything. And that can be so overwhelming. I'm a big feeler, I'm a big communicator, and I feel intensely and I feel a lot. But when it's like an overwhelming feeling, or when I have to, like, I usually try to intellectualize my feelings. So I will go into thinking about them, learning about them, studying them, dissecting them, but not actually feeling them. And that's hard to admit because I feel like I have a lot of knowledge. And I saw a post on Instagram today where it was like to all the like super self-aware people that still aren't like showing up. You're like, the work you can do, about yourself, your triggers, you understand how you react. You're mature, you're emotionally aware, but you're not actually embodying it. And I think that's what I did that week was really embody my emotions. And instead of trying to make sense of them, like if I was like, this feeling doesn't make sense, I'd get out of my head, just get into my body and just feel it. And there was moments where I definitely just like shut them off, but there was moments where I just feel like over the past 3 years, I've been through so much, and I feel like I will share more. And a lot of you guys know I went through a 10-year relationship breakup. Um, I don't know if I've actually done a podcast episode about it, and maybe I should talk. My romantic relationships aren't something I talk really in depth about on here. But that 10-year relationship, it was like the last 2 years of it was the ending of it. And I think I convinced myself that because the like 2 years of ending, that a lot of like the work had been done. And I'm realizing now and looking back on like the last 2 years of my life, how I have grown, I have learned a lot. But in that 7 days, a lot of stuff surfaced up of going, oh, we're all works in progress. I still have room to grow. I still have things to learn. And I don't believe that we ever fully get to a place where we've like learned everything. But now I'm pacing in my living room trying to make sense. I'm just like totally what's the word that you call verbally processing everything. Just like, oh, what is it that they call it? What we call it? Um, anyway. Anyway, so I think what surprised me the most was that my nervous system did reset, but like the shocking thing I'm going to share with you at the end that happened. The most shocking thing about it, I'll share with you at the end, is what I did not expect about these 7 days. But what I found myself doing more of was being present in the moment, being aware of like, I won't have this moment back again. And I think so much we're looking at the next thing. What do I got to do to get to the next place? What I got to do to the next place in my life, in my business? Like, who am I going to hang out with tomorrow? God forbid I have a weekend where I don't have any plans. What do I do if I stay home all weekend? Like that, like uncomfortable feeling. And I just like was present in the moment. And I found that that's something that's stuck with me since then. I think it's been about 2 weeks now that I've been back online. But like I try to cuddle my dogs more. They're not very cuddly. I try to just be in the moment. Like right now, as I say, like being in the present moment, I'm trying to be really present right now where I'm at and going like, I will never have this moment again. I will never have this time again. This is a gift, although it's uncomfortable. And so I found myself being more present and not wanting to get on my phone. And there was like maybe a fear about turning my phone back on because I was like, what am I gonna like? Am I gonna have come back to a bunch of messages or like what'll have happened? Like, I'd scheduled some Instagram posts and I'm like, oh my gosh, what if like something happens in the world and a post of mine isn't like sensitive because it was pre-planned? Like there was fears around that. But honestly, it was so nice. And it made me realize I want less of my life consumed by being on my phone. I want to be more present. I want to be more connected. I want to be with people who know me and understand me more deeply, like face to face, like realizing that like digital communication is cool and we get to meet people from all around the world. And I have some friends that I would have never met without like Instagram and people I wouldn't be able to stay in touch with as easily. But I do think we're too easily accessible. And I do think it opens up this like anxiety piece that like, oh, like who can I talk to? And like, how can I not I often think of like, who can I text? Who can I talk to right now? I'm so like, if I'm lonely or if I'm sad or like, I just want to like, even like chat GPT, I'll be like, chatting with it. And it's so funny. So I found that I was really being more present and intentional with my time and with myself and just feeling like more of a sense of calm, which felt really good. Um, but the most uncomfortable realization was that like if you think of addictions when people are like so many people are you hear about addictions like alcohol, drugs, porn, all those sorts of things. People, and like we kind of like, oh, like, that like it's kind of like we feel sorry for people or we criticize it. But I don't think that we realize how addicted we are to our phones. And I don't say that lightly. It's a full on addiction that can ruin your life. Just like it can, like, just like drugs and alcohol and porn and all that stuff can like slowly, it creeps into everywhere else, even if you don't think it does. There's functional alcoholics and then, there's people who can't handle it. And I think a lot of us are functionally addicted to our phones and it's harboring, it's hurting our in-person connection. And I actually heard a stat where like teen pregnancies are like at an all-time low, which is so like, they were like pointing out, it's like, that's really cool, like this next generation. But it's because people aren't spending time with each other anymore. And I think this is just my opinion. I think we're going to see happening is people aren't going to know how to communicate or relate to each other anymore. And like, you don't know how to have face-to-face conversations because when you have digital conversations, you have time to think, you have time to do things, like you have time to like process, but that in-person connection we can't replace. And I think that was like the realization that like addictions are really harmful to our health and well-being and relationships with other people. And so how do you have a business where like social media is required as service providers almost like, I don't know if I want to say it's for sure required, but it is like the number one way. They say like you can't be a hairstylist without having Instagram. And I think there probably is a way to do it without. Or how do just like, oh, having a drink isn't a bad thing, but can an alcoholic just become someone who has a drink every once in a while? I don't know the answer to that. But I do think that was like the hardest realization that the addiction is strong. And I'm currently still sitting in the what do I do about it? Like, I'm like, do I get an analog phone? Do I take because I don't even know if I'm addicted to my phone or if I'm addicted to social media. I think I'm addicted to my phone because I'll like even just like Google stuff like, and I guess YouTube social media too, but like just try to like keep my mind busy. And I wonder what it would be like if we couldn't do that, if we went back to like analog days, even have cell phones. But I just think like the rise of the smartphone has really hurt us as a society. And I'm not trying to get on my soapbox. It's hurt me as well. And the reality is that have I done anything to change it since getting back online? The embarrassing answer is no, not really. But as I'm recording this, I'm going, okay, I need to be consciously aware of this. And I won't want to build a life that is built around my phone. Like, should I toy with the idea of going back to an analog phone? And then I got to open my laptop and work. And it's so easy to be so easily accessible, especially for our work. People DMing for appointments, people emailing, people texting if you don't get back to them at a certain time. When back in the day, you had to get back to people during business hours. And what if we had those parameters around ourselves? What if I had that parameter around myself? And it's so nice to feel wanted. And it's so nice to have clients and customers and friends, like being able to be in touch with them at all times. But I think we've lost the art of being present and with ourselves. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. Did something come up that had nothing to do with my phone, but emerged once the digital noise was gone? I don't know. Honestly, I feel like because I'm also going through this like metamorphosis in my life right now. Like I am in the cocoon. I have not yet emerged and become the butterfly. And that was partially why I did this digital detox was like, I don't know. I'm like in this really cool place of like the future is unknown and I don't know what my next move is. But I've been in places like this before where I know there's bigger and better things on the other side, but I don't know what the hell is next. And I think I was really hoping to like have a big epiphany and aha, and I didn't. I just got rest. And I think that's where like 7 days isn't long enough. It's really not long enough to like get a huge, for me personally, epiphany on what's next. Or no, like I'm like, I want some sort of like psychic fortune telling to like come and tell me like, okay, like I'll do this digital detox and in return and in exchange and it'll be a transaction. I will then know my deeper life's purpose currently and I'll know and I'll feel confident in the next move. But I think reality is like whatever you're going through, whatever I'm going through, like we don't always know what's next and we have to take the next step. Like, how do you get up a staircase? One step at a time. You can't just jump to the top of the staircase. And I think I don't want to become embarrassed. I had this expectation that I could just jump to the top of the staircase, that I could bypass like, oh, I'll do this like really honorable, cool thing that like a lot of people won't do because I have this like, there was like totally ego involved in it. I have this like inner strength and I have this ability and I'm not addicted. So I'll turn my phone off for 7 days and I'm going to be rewarded with a clear path. And no, that was not the tradition, unfortunately. But I also have done it before. And I've also been in similar places where I'm like, okay, what is the next step? Like, what is the next thing? Like, I don't know if you've ever had a time where you like achieved some really cool things in your life and you're like, that's going to make me happy. That's going to make me feel successful. And then you get it and you're like, and then you chase it for a while because you're like, yeah, like got the thing. I did the thing. I got the title. I'm so proud of myself. High five Dawn in the mirror. But then you're like, my like focus is shifting. My goals in life are shifting. What brings me joy? Like I thought all these like check marks in my career. I found so much of my identity in my career and realizing like, I don't want to be known for just my career. I want to be known for my heart. I want to be known for who I am. I want to know myself. I think that's maybe one of the biggest realizations is like, what does Dawn want? And I thought I knew, but I actually realized that like so much of the like last over, oh my gosh, it's 24 years in the industry as a hairstylist. So much of what I thought I wanted was based out of externally what I thought people expected of me or how I could make other people impressed with me or how I could like be a success and like financially and business wise. But like, what does success look like on a personal level to me? What does success look like out of business? And I know this is very, I don't know if this is on brand with my, there's my puppy, Lewis. Very on brand with my normal, but like the anxiety, I guess I was trying to bypass anxiety. I was trying to bypass my way from having to sit in discomfort, like not knowing what's next, not knowing what I want, not knowing what I want to do next, knowing I have a desire for things, but they kind of scare the shit out of me. And like to take the next leap, like is so outside of the normal realm or what is like status quo that feels so uncomfortable. And I don't know if you've ever had the feeling where you're like, I know I'm made for more. I know that I don't want like the standard. I know that like, the white picket fence and like the house in the backyard and the kids, like that, sure. And maybe that could shift and change. Like what I've wanted in life has shifted and changed a lot throughout my life. But like right now, like I just believe that I'm like on this earth to do life differently. I don't know. Anyway, I digress. It felt really good to be less reachable, to be honest. It felt really good to not feel pressure because of the people pleaser in me, because of the like, I don't want people to be upset with me. I don't want to hurt other people. I abandon what is best for me so often. And honestly sometimes don't know what is best for me because that like feeling of like making others happy fills up my cup. And I'm realizing like I've worked through a lot of my people pleasing in business, but not in my personal life. And so it's funny how you can compartmentalize it almost in your life and go like, I'm okay with like letting down clients. I'm okay with like having good boundaries with clients. And like, I know how to do this, but like realizing in my personal life, boundaries and people pleasing and like my self-worth has been so much in like how happy people can be with me or how happy I can make other people with me. And and I've abandoned my goals and my dreams, and not consciously, to try to make other people happy. And so I don't know if I truly learned what I need versus the constant distracting myself, but I do realize that I need more time with myself. I need to know myself more intimately of like, who am I? What do I want? What do I desire? And then sticking to that when life gets hard, when you have to let go of friendships, when you have to let go of people, when you have to let go of clients, when you have to let go of businesses, when you have to let go of circumstances, when you have to like, I'm a Taurus, I like my material things, but also like I've talked about purging a lot. I like did a massive purge before that 7 days off. I went through my entire house, like bags and bags and bags of stuff, like just detaching myself from things and um, really starting to just like look inward at like, I am not what I had done. I am not what I have achieved. I am not what other people think of me. I am not how people see me, positive and negative. But the biggest part in all of this, the craziest thing that I never thought, I think the thing that surprised me the most about it, and this is like the hardest thing to admit, is that 7 days, if you were talking about addictions, someone's alcohol, drugs, whatever, 7 days without it is not enough to stop the addiction. The first day back online, it's embarrassing to admit, I was just on my phone, consuming it, eating it up. And honestly, the next few days, and even currently, I'm like, whoa, I am on my phone way too much. I don't like this, but I can't stop. And so I don't know, friend. Like, I don't know what the answer is. And I don't believe I'm here to give answers. I'm here to ask questions in this life. But like, what is the next step for us? If we're so digitally addicted to our phones and 7 days without it felt good, it felt so good, then why didn't I just go to over consuming it again? That was that's the question I've left with myself. And, could I do 30 days without my phone? Could I do, and how could I do 30? Could I get an analog phone? And that way people can only like call and text, but I don't even like text. I just don't like looking at the screen. And actually the personal trainer that I see, she doesn't have a phone. And I was like, yeah, she, only email. And she's like, I check my email every day. And I was like, that feels so good, but it's so culturally and I don't want to say counterintuitive, but like not culturally acceptable. So I'm going to leave it there. But like, what do we do about this? Whether you're thinking about turning your phone off for an hour, a day, or 7, or maybe you're just realizing how loud everything feels lately, or how much you get caught in the doom scroll, I hope this episode gave you a little relief, a little validation, and a gentle reminder that you're not alone. This isn't about being perfect. It's about coming back to yourself, slowly, messily, awkwardly if needed. So take a deep breath with me. You're doing better than you think. And until next time, stay weird, stay messy, and stay unapologetically you.